I do remember my first experience of trying to make Chinese green tea before I knew how to prepare tea at all. I'd gotten some jasmine pearls from a co-op, and I was trying to practice drinking tea because I was trying to get off of coffee. And I didn't have a tea kettle or anything, and I just had this giant like soup pot. So I just took a bunch of water, boiled it. I knew you're supposed to turn off the water. I threw them in there, and then I just let them sit in there for I don't know an hour. I just walked away, and I was like, oh yeah, and I was like, oh, it's like the jasmine was over extracted. That's how bad it was. I was like, oh, how can people drink this? And my girlfriend at the time goes, I think you didn't make it right. So I'd like to do this, prepare this green tea, this Dragonwell, in a little gaiwan here. This is a gaiwan, little vessel and lid. We're gonna get a nice volume of tea in here. Traditionally, the ratio between tea and water in a gaiwan is much higher than like the Western style. We're not going super traditional here. We're just we're making tea. What we do is high volume of tea relative to water and short steep. Our water's a little bit cooler than boiling, probably about 180, something like that. Get your leaves all covered. You use the edge of this thing if you want. I'll use my filter here, my trusty little filter, and then grabbing by the edge of the cup there and pressing down here. Takes a little bit of practice, and then just a little twist of the wrist and decanting the tea. Hey, there's a nice trick I learned. When you want to catch the aromatics, tilt the lid sideways, and the aromatics will come off the edge like that, way different than going like this. That's the magic. It's all those like really volatile comments. So nice little color there, a little bit, a little cloudy. That's okay. There's some suspended particulate in there, just part of the tea. Oops. It's a vegetal, slightly nutty, and you can get several steeps of this method.
So why is it called Dragonwell?
There's a couple myths around Dragonwell. The traditional Dragonwell, to be truly called Dragonwell, comes from the West Lake region in Hangzhou. And apparently there was this water source that had 2 layers of water, a thicker water, and the waters would swirl and look like a dragon, and somehow that name Dragonwell stuck. The process for making this tea, so it was a process. It was also the terroir and the plants themselves. The original 12 or 18 plants or something, the grandmother or grandfather plants are still there and highly revered, and the tea that comes off them is auctioned for, $1 bazillion. Now I think it's become like some kind of wines, like champagne. Technically has to come from Champagne region, but then it's also a process style. Similar thing. It's processed, the leaves are flattened. They have a real, you can see there's a flat shape to them, and they're flattened in a pan. So there's certain tasting qualities and visual and aromatic properties you're looking for in a Dragonwell. Now that the price and the quality don't always match. They're oftentimes visually graded. Smaller the leaf, the greener it is, the less broken leaf, the less stems. It's sorted visually. A lot of Chinese tea is actually graded visually. It has nothing to do with how it comes. Yeah. What I'm always looking for is where that sweet spot is, where it's like price is okay and then the quality is really good. So it's like value. You're looking for like what do you want to spend, and like Doesn't, I mean, just because the tea is $500 a pound, does not any indication of the quality. I found that actually in China. I tasted probably 50 different Dragonwells in China at one point, and the price to quality was all over the place. And you learn, you end up buying all this tea, and you're like, why did I spend $10 on this bag? It's like, we learn by doing and by experiencing the tea. You know, you're the best judge of what you like and what's good.